Hi everyone. So today I thought we would do, I would show you guys how I wash my brushes and my sponges. Being that I'm still recovering from my sunburn, I wanted to get out content that didn't involve putting makeup on my face. So today I'm going to wash, I have a whole bucket here of brushes and eye brushes and sponges that we will be cleaning. And I'm gonna show you two different ways of cleaning. One is using this brick right here, which is the Duluth Trading Buck Naked bar of soap. It's unscented. And then the other one is going to be using the Sonia Kashuk makeup brush and sponge shampoo. So this shampoo, the brush shampoo, can be swapped out with really any dish soap or like liquid soap, and you can use almost any nice bar soap. So I just want to show you the two different ways. There's also all sorts of solid cleansers. This one's from Sonia Kashuk. I have one from Beauty Blender. I don't really recommend the Beauty Blender liquid cleanser. I just don't feel like it really does much. And then for like a day-to-day stuff, there's also like cleansing sprays where you just spritz right onto the brush and clean it immediately, but those don't do a deep clean. So what we're going to do first is take a little bit of the Sonia Kashuk makeup brush and sponge shampoo, and I have a little bowl here, so I'm just going to put a little bit in the base of it and just fill it with not very much water at all, just about that much water. And that way the brushes won't be fully submerged, just the ferrule. So I usually start with my eye brushes, and then I have a towel on a little bench right next to me, and I have this little dude. This is something that I got off of Amazon. I thought it was gonna be bigger, but it's about the size of my hand, and it has sections that go onto just the base of my sink, and I usually put it around there, and this is a nice way to exfoliate the brushes and really make sure that everything is super clean. So what I usually do is wet the brush, and people can do this in like clumps of brushes, but I tend to do it one at a time. And then I swirl my brush in the soapy water, just kind of get it on there, and then swirl it on here, and just really get it sudsy. And then once I feel like it's clean enough, I run the water and rinse it off. So there's the brush, and then I wipe it off on a towel that I have next to me just to get all the excess water off and move on. So we can also do, I like to do like groups that are similar to each other. So like, just so that you're not doing them all individually. That would take a while. So you could do like a group like this, or even bigger. Wet them a little bit. Put them into the soap and go all 4 of them. And when picking out soaps, you want to make sure that there's something that will condition the brushes a little bit, because you don't want the brushes getting too terribly dried out. I know that a lot of people just use dish soap, and that works totally great. And then we'll just wash them off. And dry them on the towel. And that's that. Okay, so let's now do it on the bar of soap. So let's get this one. Needs to be cleaned pretty bad. So for this one, I'm just gonna take the brick, get this a little bit wet, and then honestly just rub it along on the top of the soap bar, and we got all nice and sudsy. And then if you feel like you need a little bit extra, just do it on the mat. Most of these, like small, you can get small mats usually with like solid cleansers. Like this one came with the Sonia Kashuk one, and this is considerably smaller than the other one, but it works just as great. This one just has a bunch of different textures on it. And then you rinse it off. I usually like to just brush it along the palm of my hand to make sure to get everything out. Just because there's often excess soap here. Brush off the excess on the towel. And we have a beautifully clean brush. So that's how I like to clean eye brushes, and now we'll do a few face brushes as well. So let's see. I have this one right here, which is a blush brush. Let's do a few different kinds. This one right here is, oh, let's get it on the camera. One that I use for contour. And then let's do this one I use for foundation as well, and we can do a big powder brush. Let's see, let's do something like this. So this one I often use for powder or contour. So let's wet it. There's a little bit in here. We'll do this one in the liquid. And these ones you really want to make sure you kind of get deep in there. You can even do it with your hands, like massage it in. But these ones don't necessarily always get as sudsy, just because the soap is more dispersed. And sometimes I have to go in a few times to get it completely clean. Into the soap again, and onto the mat. And pretty much for these bigger brushes, I try and clean it until I don't see any dirty water coming out of it anymore. And just because they're often denser brushes and bigger brushes, it can take a minute. And then I squeeze the excess out of the big brushes. So there we have it. This one is nice and clean, and I still brush it against the towel before I lay it down. So then we have this blush brush. I'm gonna wet and doing the liquid one again. So we just go around there and start scrubbing. I like the heart part of this. I think it has a nice texture and really gets into these big dense brushes. So this still has a little bit of pink right here, so I'm gonna just kind of keep working it with the soap that's already there. Okay, so now we have a fairly clean blush brush, and sometimes things get stained and that's okay. I might actually try and do this one again on the block just to see if I can get that last bit of blush off. So we're just gonna kind of work it on here, get a little bit more sudsy, and then work it on here a little bit more. Now some products do stain brushes. A lot of like really colorful eyeshadows will stain, but blush doesn't usually, and I can usually get this one pretty clean. Okay, I think that's better. Yeah, that one's much better. So honestly, I tend, oh, this isn't rinsed out all the way. So there we go. It's all clean now. I prefer the block over the liquid. I think Dr. Bronner is the name of the brand, has a nice liquid, just regular liquid soap that works well. But I'm finding that I'm really enjoying this brick, so for the rest of it, I'm actually going to just get rid of it. It's getting dirty anyways. Okay, so we're done with this, because I don't use that for the sponges. So we're just gonna work this onto the top of the bar of soap. Add a little bit more water. Just gonna work it until you think there's enough on it, and then you go in and you can see just how dirty that brush was. I use this for like kind of bronzing the whole face, not so much contouring, but there's still a lot of product in there. My bar is slipping. Stay there, please. I might just move this into the sink. And see how when I run it across the mat, oh, I guess I'm finding a few more spots. With these really dense ones, you really want to make sure that they're really rinsed well and clean, because you don't want like soap in the middle of the brush. Okay. Okay, and now we squeeze the excess out, excess water. And the other thing is when you're drying these brushes, if you can, put them at an angle where the tail, the end of your brush is higher than the brush bristles itself. That way water doesn't go into this ferrule, because this is just glued on, and if too much water goes into it, the glue will dissolve and your brush will come apart. Mine are currently laying flat, but what I usually do is I just fold the end of the towel under the bottom of the brushes, and that works just great. So this is the foundation brush. I use this for my Bare Minerals stick foundation. We will just, this is a really, really dense brush, which is why it's a foundation brush. But it means that it might take a second to really get everything to get into the brush. Okay. I should wash my brushes more often, but it takes a while. But it's very satisfying. And I always try to do it when I know that I have a day or two of not needing the brushes, because my big fluffy brushes often take about 2 days to fully dry. Okay, let's see how that's doing. We can do it while the water's running so that we can rinse really well the inside the brush, because you really don't want product remaining in the interior. Okay. We're still getting a little bit of soap, so we will keep rinsing. That's the other thing, is these are harder to rinse because they're so densely packed. The soap will just kind of stay in there. You can work it with your hands to kind of get the water in there. And a nice way to test is just see if any soap comes out when you do that. And this looks good. So dry it out on your mat. Then you have a lovely clean foundation brush. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I do with sponges. Let's get a nice dirty one. This one looks grody. Yeah, it's supposed to be orange. This is a Real Techniques. Just one of their regular sponges. And typically, this is the first time I'm actually doing it with a brick, but I really like what it does. I tested one earlier today. And I used to do this kind of long evolved boiling water and soap and rinsing and oil. Like it was a lot, but this works really, really well. We don't need this, so we'll just put it aside. The water's getting really hot. Okay, get your sponge wet. Take the brick, and get the brick a little bit wet too. And just work it in. So I just kind of keep working it. And this, it's all going into the sponge too, so anything that has been soaked up by your sponge, this soap should get. And just, I don't usually use the bottom of my sponge, but it's good to clean it anyways. Okay, so we got it nice and And then just rinse it out. It's gonna be, look at that. Okay, and there's still some dark spots. I don't really mind small stains, but I'm gonna just go over this again and see if I can get it just a little bit more clean, because this one was really dirty. But you know, sponges, they're not immortal. You do have to replace them every once in a while. And I'm not displaying these, like these are for use, so I feel like having a few stains isn't really the end of the world. As long as you know that they're clean is the biggest thing. So I'm like, I have some like mascara brow product or something. I don't know if the soap will really get it, but that's okay. The point is for it to be clean, not for it to be flawless. Okay, that looks good. Water's getting real hot. Okay, and then you just rinse it until you don't see soap come out anymore. Which I think I'm really close to. There's still some soap right there. Because you don't want to wet your sponge and then have it be a little soapy. That'll mess with your makeup. Okay. So there we have it. That, I would say, is a pretty clean sponge compared to what we had. And then I just let that air dry. There's nothing special for it. The one thing I do want to do, one more thing, is I have this velvet sponge that I want to see if it works. Well, I haven't been able to get this one like super clean since getting it. So let's see if it works. I'm going to try it on this because I haven't before. Okay, it's wet. Now you can see, like, this is, I use it for baking. So let's see if it can get the powder off, because that would be fantastic. Now, if you use powder and foundation on one sponge, it might take a little bit longer to get through all of the layers. So you may have to do this a few more times. But if you're persistent, it will work. It just may have to do it in layers. But this looks like it's working nicely. Okay. I was worried about the velvet with the high heat of the boiling water, so I didn't really do it. None of my other soaps were really cutting through the powder. So I'm glad I found this. Okay, we are all suds up. Let's see if she's clean. I like to let it soak up fully and then squeeze it out, just so that I know that water is getting to the very center of the sponge before I try and rinse it out. And I squeeze it under the running water so that any soap that comes out is immediately rinsed away, and when I let go of the sponge, it doesn't reabsorb. But this cleaned up really, really well with that. There's no powder right here anymore. This is feeling good. Okay, we'll do 1 or 2 more rinses. Okay. And there we have it. I would say that that was rather successful. So, I hope this made sense, and I hope you guys are cleaning your brushes, because this is a good time to do it if you haven't already. So I'm going to clean the rest of my brushes and my sponges, and I hope you guys enjoyed and this made sense. I will see you in my next video. Bye!